Hey guys, so I just figured I'd put this little, hopefully a little short video out for you guys of this really extremely well-bred dressage horse that I have in for training. And he's doing really good. I got my hindquarter yields. I can bring that front end through. Some commotion doesn't really bother him. Asking for those hindquarters. Bring that front end through. You can, I like to get my flag, you know, while that horse is in motion, just kind of get this flag, bounce it on that saddle seat, you know, just kind of get him used to all this stuff. While he's in motion, just kind of get this flag down by his legs, you know, just kind of checking this horse out. Asking for his hips here. He didn't really give them to me, so I'll step in here, take his hips away. Send him back off around me. Asking for those hips again, see if he yields them any better. That's a lot nicer. Gonna throw that flag away. Run the rope over his head, around that horn. Ask him to bend like that. Follow the fill, come towards me. Wasn't pulling on the lead rope. That was really good. Test this side. Let him just kind of feel that pressure, think his way out of that situation. Good. Let off quite nice. I'm liking it. So you might be wondering why I don't have spurs on. I usually ride in spurs all the time. Why I don't have spurs on. Why I just have this horse in a halter. Wipe the sweat out of your hat band so you don't lose it. But the reason is because I've been preparing this horse for this moment right here. Been preparing this horse for his first ride. I've done all the groundwork. You can go through my earlier videos where I was working with that littler horse, JB. Did a full colt starting session on him. Haven't done very many videos about this guy, but I've done all my groundwork to prepare him for his first ride, which is happening right now. Here I'm just kind of checking his lateral flexion. And then before I ever ask a horse to walk off, I'm gonna ask him for a little bit of lateral flexion to my left, and I'm gonna slide that left leg back a little bit, and I'm gonna ask him to move his hips over, just like that. Now for me, I always do the left side first, because if I'm gonna have to get off this horse pretty quick, I'm much handier getting off the left side than the right side. So I always do that on the left side first. Let me come over here, pitch that rope over his head, bend his nose to my right, slide my right leg back, there's his hips, and just stay as loosey-goosey as you can. A lot of times the reaction that you do, if the horse jumps or does something kind of sideways, can add fuel to the fire. So just stay nice and loosey-goosey. I don't know how many colts I've started. I don't have any idea how many colts I've started. I've started a whole mess of them. There's a lot of people that keep track. I don't. And I'll talk to a lot of young guys about how many colts they've started, and they throw out a pretty impressive number. But I know just as well as anybody else how many weeks are in a year and how many months are in a year, and I can do the math, and it's like, that's an awful lot of colts. So, I don't know. One thing that I do here, I'm gonna pick this rein up and ask him to stop, just by picking that rein up. I'll do that under saddle as his education continues, but if I were to be walking, bounce these legs off him, and I picked the rein up, and he didn't stop by me picking the rein up, then I would bend him down to a stop. When I ask a horse to move off for the first time, I'll put a little bend in their body, and I'm not gonna squeeze. A lot of times on young horses that you're starting, the squeeze can make them feel claustrophobic. So I'll add little rhythmic bumps. Just kind of say follow that left hand and give me some rhythmic, or with rhythmic motion in my legs, I'll ask him to move off. So I'm not gonna sit here and squeeze and squeeze and squeeze, because a lot of times when a horse is stalled out and you start squeezing, well, they're gonna go somewhere. And sometimes, especially on these first rides, they'll go straight up in the air. And that's something that I don't really appreciate anymore. So I don't use steady squeezing pressure. I use rhythmic bouncing driving pressure. There he goes. He's kind of looking at his pasture mates over there. I think the feed wagon's starting to come around, so he's kind of looking for his feed. There he goes. And I'll keep that driving pressure up with my legs until I get some life in his feet. And then I might roll his hips around. Good. And then I might flip that rope over there. All of this, there's a nice looking shoe. All of this he's been prepared for by doing the groundwork. Good. And this is my, like I said, this is my first ride. I'm not in any big hurry to hit the trot or hit the canter. I used to do all that stuff on the very first ride. Used to have a flag person in here maybe helping me. But, you know, the older I get, the more horses I start, the more it's kind of unnecessary. So we can just start nice and slow and just have him walking off. Pick up this rein, ask him to stop, rub on him. That's good. Nice looking chew from him. One thing that I want to stress is when I pick this rein up, watch when I release. So I'm going to drive him forward here. I'm going to pick the rein up. As soon as he's starting to think about stopping, I drop that rein. So he's starting to operate off of feel right from the get-go, because he's learned all of this on the ground, and I'm a savvy enough horseman to get in and get out. So get in, get out. So I'm not going to be hanging on the reins. I'm going to try to stay in the camera for you. And I'll try to ask him for just a couple steps of a trot. There's a try. He sped up, so I quit kicking. So any try, I'll reward any try. So here I'm just kind of bouncing my legs off him. Might take the tail of my lead rope and kind of ask him for a trot. There he goes. I take the tail of my lead rope to the withers because that's what I want him to pick up when he goes into the transition, up into the transition. I don't need the back end coming up. I need the back end weighted, and I need the shoulders coming up. There he goes. There he goes. I'll just kind of float this left rein out. See if he'll just kind of follow that left rein. And then pick it up. Maybe pick it up again. Maybe get a weight shift back or something. We'll see what happens here. There he goes. Good. So that's how I like my first rides to go. And if you've done your preparation, then they should go like that. Now, sometimes you can do all the preparation in the world, and when you fork your leg over and ask that horse to move off, other things can happen. But generally, that's how first rides go. Generally, that's how not generally, that is how I like my first rides to go. And then every ride from here on out is just going to be a continuation of what we're doing now. Asking him for these hips. Asking him to follow this right rein out with his right front. Walk him on. Ask him for his hips. Rock his weight back. Ask him for that left front to kind of follow right. Nope. There. Kind of followed that feel to the left. So it's just a continuation. That's just a little video of just a first ride I'd put up there with this guy. And just because he's a dressage horse doesn't mean I'm going to start him any differently than I would a trail horse, a cutting horse, or any other horse that I'm starting. A horse is a horse, of course. Mr. Ed told us that many years ago. So it's all the same, onwards and upwards. Thanks for watching. This is how it should go. Take care.